A dog has to watch the merciless death of her puppies, and she is desperate to take revenge on humans. The movie Project Silence begins with an intense situation at the National Security Council, where important government officials and security ministers are gathered. They are discussing a delicate issue concerning hostages who have been held captive by terrorists for the past 5 months. Among the officials is Jang Yoon, who is poised to become the next president. For now, he is serving as the Secretary of Security, a crucial position in such a crisis. As the discussion unfolds, Jang Yoon suggests that they continue to stay put for 1 more month, hoping for a resolution. However, his idea doesn't sit well with the other ministers. The atmosphere is tense until Jang Won, the Deputy Security Director, arrives. Jang Won gives his opinion that the captives have been held for more than a year, and if the terrorists haven't responded in 5 months, it could mean 2 things. First, the terrorists might be waiting for more money and are stalling negotiations to increase the ransom. Or, second, the worst-case scenario is that the captives might already be dead, and that's why the terrorists are not communicating. The ministers, though disappointed by this harsh reality, can't help but feel that Jang Won has a point. Jang Yoon privately compliments Jang Won, stating that if he had such competent people around him earlier, he might have become president long ago. After this tense meeting, Jang Won heads home, where we are introduced to his daughter. Kyung Min is a young girl with dreams of becoming a rapper, but her father has other plans for her. He is preparing to send her abroad to study, where her aunt lives. Kyung Min is upset because she feels that her father doesn't support her dream, and instead, he is forcing her to follow a path she doesn't want. Despite her reluctance, she starts packing, knowing she has no choice. Jang Won, on the other hand, is determined to sell his house to fund Kyung Min's education abroad, showing that he is willing to make sacrifices for her future, even if they don't see eye to eye on what that future should be. The story takes a turn when Jang Won takes Kyung Min to the airport. On their way, they stop at a gas station to refuel. Here, a worker named Joy asks for payment after filling the tank. Jang Won hands over his card, but Joy explains that their card reader isn't working. Suspicious of Joy's intentions, Jang Won insists on paying the owner directly and leaves without paying Joy. As they continue their journey, the radio broadcasts a warning about a sudden change in the weather, predicting a thick fog that could cause dangerous driving conditions. However, Jang Won doesn't pay much attention to this warning, focusing instead on getting Kyung Min to the airport. Meanwhile, we are introduced to another character, Yuri, who is with her friend Miron. Yuri is a golf player who was supposed to play in a tournament the day before, but due to an oversight by Miron, Yuri's passport expired. They are now on their way to get an emergency passport, planning to catch a flight early in the morning. As they are waiting, an elderly woman approaches Yuri, mistaking her for her cousin. Miron assumes that the old woman is just a fan of Yuri, but it turns out that the old woman has dementia and doesn't recognize her own husband, who soon arrives to take her away. Her husband, Yashu, tries to bring her back to their bus, but she doesn't recognize him. In a sudden panic, Moon runs towards the road, and Yuri saves her from being hit by a car just in time. After saying thanks, they move on to their journey. As Yuri and Miron continue on their journey, they drive through a thick fog on a bridge. This fog is the same one that was warned about on the radio, making it nearly impossible to see anything ahead. Despite this, a reckless streamer is driving at high speed, live-streaming the whole event. On the other side, Jang Won is cautiously making his way across the bridge when military vehicles pass by, carrying what seems to be a significant load of dogs. This adds an element of mystery and tension, as the audience begins to sense that something is not quite right. The reckless streamer narrowly avoids a collision, but his car ends up blocking the road, leading to a chain reaction of crashes as other vehicles slam into each other. The situation quickly spirals out of control, and the bridge becomes a chaotic scene of wrecked cars and panicked drivers. Among the vehicles is a truck carrying a tank, which also crashes, adding to the chaos. In the midst of this chaos, we see Joy, the gas station worker, who hears about the incident on the bridge through the radio. Remembering that Jang Won had stopped at his gas station, he decides to head to the bridge, hoping to catch up with Jang Won and collect the payment he is owed. Joy sets out with his dog in his tow truck, determined to find Jang Won. Back on the bridge, Jang Won and his daughter Kyung Min find themselves in the middle of the mess. A car flips over right in front of them, and they stop to help. A man trapped inside the car pleads for help, and 2 soldiers manage to pull him out. This man turns out to be Dr. Young, a doctor who is visibly shaken and insists that the soldiers check the dogs in the military vehicles. The soldiers comply and soon discover that all the dogs have escaped from their cages. This revelation sends a wave of panic through everyone present. Dr. Young explains that these dogs are not ordinary animals. They are highly dangerous and have already killed a soldier. Kwang Minute, being a kind-hearted girl, tries to approach one of the dogs, offering it biscuits. However, her father quickly intervenes, warning her that the dog could be dangerous. The dog, with D9 written on its leash, runs off, leaving Jiang Wan and Kyung Minute feeling more uneasy. Dr. Young becomes more agitated as he realizes that the dogs are out of control. He is using his laptop to try and locate and manage them, but things are not going well. Jiang Wan, frustrated and confused, demands answers from Dr. Young. The doctor explains that the dogs were part of a secret project known as Project Silence. These dogs were initially trained to respond to human voices and assist in rescue operations, but the military repurposed them as weapons. They were reprogrammed to attack specific targets, and now, with their control mechanisms failing, they are a deadly threat to everyone on the bridge. After some time, Dr. Young controls all the dogs except E9, who is out of control because he has removed the chip. Dr. Young manages to get the dogs inside the container, and a helicopter is called to take them away. Unfortunately, E9 ruins the plan by destroying the helicopter. All the dogs are now free and poised to take lives. Meanwhile, Joy arrives at the bridge, searching for Jiang Wan. His dog runs off near the container where the other dogs are, leading Joy into danger. Soldiers capture him, but he soon finds himself in the same predicament as everyone else, facing the vicious dogs. The dogs, once controlled through chips implanted in them, are now rogue, with the most dangerous one, E9, having removed its chip by injuring itself. This makes E9 uncontrollable and a significant threat. As the dogs begin to attack, chaos ensues. One by one, the soldiers and other people on the bridge are overpowered by the dogs. Dr. Young tries to manage the situation through his laptop, but it's clear that the situation is beyond control. The dogs are on a killing spree, targeting everyone they encounter. The scene becomes increasingly frantic as people try to escape, but the dogs are relentless. Jiang Wan, desperate to protect his daughter, devises a plan to get them to safety. They manage to hide in a car and try to escape the bridge. Dr. Young is with them, as Jiang Wan has saved him from the brutal dogs. Meanwhile, Joy is also running away to save his life, and Jiang Wan allows him to hide in the back of the car at his daughter's request. On the way, Jiang Wan inquires from Dr. Young about what is going on. He reveals that the dogs were designed to become brutal killers, with E9 being the most dangerous of all. E9 had been turned into a savage beast after witnessing the death of its own puppies, an act that was meant to make it more aggressive. Now, E9 is not just hunting for prey, it is seeking revenge on everyone involved in its creation. However, they encounter more survivors, including the old couple, Yuri, Miron, Joy, and his dog. They all band together, realizing that they must work as a team if they are to survive this nightmare. The group hatches a plan to distract the dogs while they make their way to a safe spot on the bridge. They use flares and firewood to protect themselves, but they know that E9 is still out there, uncontrollable and vengeful. Jiang Wan tries to contact Jung Hoon, who is supposed to send help, but Jung Hoon is more concerned about covering up the incident. It is revealed that Jung Hoon was the one who approved Project Silence, and he is now desperately trying to avoid any scandal that could damage his reputation. Their situation seems hopeless, but they refuse to give up. Jiang Wan and the others set a trap for the dogs, using the bus as bait. They manage to lure the dogs inside and trigger the trap, killing most of them. However, the victory is short-lived. The elderly man, whose wife had died earlier from her injuries, decides to sacrifice himself to ensure the others can escape. He locks himself in the bus with the remaining dogs, allowing the others to flee. The survivors reach the end of the bridge, only to find that no rescue team has arrived. Jiang Wan tries to contact his superiors again, but gets no response. It becomes clear that they have been abandoned. In a final, desperate move, they decide to escape through a route filled with toxic gas, using Joy's tow truck. But to start the truck, they need the key, which was left in the bus. The group hatches a daring plan to retrieve the key while avoiding the remaining dogs. Dr. Young's laptop is used to control the dogs, setting Jiang Wan as the target to distract them. In a tense sequence, they manage to get the key, but E9, the most dangerous dog, is still on the loose. As they make their escape, the bridge starts to collapse, and E9, driven by a desire for revenge, attacks. But in the final moments, E9 falls into the water below, bringing an end to the nightmare. In the aftermath, the survivors are left to deal with the trauma of what they've experienced. Jiang-won, who had been trying to protect his daughter throughout the ordeal, is devastated by the realization that the whole disaster was a result of a government project gone horribly wrong. He knows that the truth needs to come out, but at the same time, he is haunted by the loss and destruction caused by Project Silence. The scene shifts to E9, who is trying to save her puppy, the only survivor, and seeking revenge on those responsible for her puppy's death. If you like this movie, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel.